Welcome to the Lesbian Romantic podcast. This is Waking Up is Easy, Part 3. You know how sometimes you want to prove something to yourself and because of it you act like a total idiot? That was me after I got that text from Sonia, but I'll get to that soon enough. On Monday morning, I arrived at work a little early. I know this because Brittany hadn't even unlocked the door yet. I had to dig out my key and let myself into the reception area. I always used the public entrance of the center, avoiding contact with the people from the night shift. I don't know why I keep my distance from them. I just do. I took care of some paperwork before starting my round. I expected Annie to be in need for another talk, so I headed to sit with Gregory at 9 sharp, and not a minute early. Annie, however, didn't arrive at her regular hour. This was the first thing that was off that day. I waited for a bit, but then moved on to the next patient. It's a good thing Arthur was my next stop. It's time for you to know more about him, since he's a big part of the story. I doubt any of this would have happened without him. Remember the rich woman who has a son in a coma? Arthur is that son. He's been with us for many years now, and his condition is surprisingly stable. This adds to the mystery. We usually know why our patients ended up in a coma, but not with Arthur. Arthur was treated in private hospitals until his mother lost hope. Ultimately, she had him hospitalized with us. This was not a compromise in care, by the way. We have unique expertise here in taking care of long-term coma patients and their families. We've been doing this for decades. It's not that his mom wanted to, downscale his care or anything. But she did refuse to share with us how he ended up in a coma. His medical file, strangely, also did not mention this. Maya, our director, never dared to ask. That means no one knows what happened to Arthur. And it also means that everyone speculates about it whenever they can. It's kind of strange we were never able to find out. Arthur's mom is famous, but not in a Oprah way. She's pretty well known in powerful circles nationwide, though. I have to admit, I too felt intrigued by Arthur's story. Or more precisely, lack thereof. It's hard to sit by someone's bedside and not wonder, I Googled his name a few times, but nothing. How do you even... Okay, no. I don't want to lose my focus or worse, get ahead of the story. The important thing to know here is that I never actually met Arthur's mother, even though she's paying for my job. I had been sitting with Arthur for a while that Monday when Maya, my boss, walked into the room. This was the second strange thing to happen that morning. Morning? I said, trying not to sound alarmed, but I was. A good morning to you. Maya smiled and then turned to Arthur. And to you. I looked at Arthur and smiled sadly. His face looked ashen today, but it was still a very young face. There were no wrinkles to worsen the gray smudges under his eyes. How was France? Maya asked. Startled again, this time by the unexpected question, I frowned. Chuckling, Maya added, "Oh, forgot about your vacation already? You've been back for how many days?" I counted back to Thursday evening. 4 days, I said. Just 4 days, and you forgot about the city of love already. Maya sighed and shook her head. I wasn't sure what to say, because Maya was right. Paris had been our last stop in France. I had loved it while we were there, but had forgotten about it as soon as I was on the plane. I want to talk to you for a moment, Maya said, breaking the awkward silence, much to my relief. Sure, I said. Do you want me to drop by your office later? I didn't like to talk about things that related to the patients while in their rooms. You never know what they pick up on, right? I mean, I've read some crazy stories. Not that anything strange like that has ever happened at our center. Until, well, we'll get to that soon enough. I think Maya felt the storm coming long before I did. No, I just wanted to let you know something odd happened this weekend with Usha, Maya continued. I froze in my seat. After my conversation with Audrey, I had tried my best all weekend not to think about Usha. Remember what I said earlier about wanting to prove something to myself? I went a little overboard in pretending I did not care about Usha. I hadn't even replied to Sonia's text, which was kind of an asshole move on my part, looking back now. It's not that I didn't want to go into work straight after getting that text. I really wanted to visit Usha and talk to my colleagues. It's just that I told myself I really shouldn't want to do that. And from there, I started to pretend that I actually didn't want to. I was that person who's clearly miserable, but keeps telling everyone they're absolutely great. I had made sure not to talk about Usha or my job for the rest of the weekend. And on Sunday, I had even agreed to go for a long hike with Audrey, pretending not to care about having no cell reception. Even more ridiculous, that Monday morning, I had made myself stick to my routine instead of going straight to Usha's room. But now, Maya was here to put an end to my idiocy. Sonia noticed more strength in her movements, Maya continued, ignoring my lack of response, almost as if she was pushing back. That's strange, I said, unsure if Maya already knew that Sonia had texted me this on Saturday afternoon. It is, Maya said. It's something that doesn't happen that often. And nobody ever wakes up here, I said, a little too certain. I immediately recognized I was only reassuring myself, and that it was a selfish thing to feel and say. But then again, Maya didn't know what I was feeling in that moment. She didn't know that I needed Usha to stay in her coma. I don't think even I realized how much I needed Usha to not wake up. How can you admit something like that to yourself? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Maya said, pursing her lips. You're absolutely right. I agreed, nodding, happy Maya could not read my mind. But I've got a weird feeling about this, Maya sighed. And my intuition is usually spot on. Maybe there's something else. I thought out loud, and the sense of alarm came back in full force. I had suddenly remembered the video Audrey had shared with me on Friday. I guess I should have told Maya about it. It might have helped us prepare. But I still hadn't watched it in full myself, and I didn't really want to either. I didn't like the people who put up videos on that site, apart from a few therapists that provided valuable information. But yeah, I should have told Maya about the video then and there. I didn't, of course, and we all paid the price because of it. On this channel, we explore where to go to battle first. Freedom Crusaders! I am back home, and I immediately wanted to upload a new video because I have lots and lots to say. But I had to wait until my roommate had left. She's so noisy and nosy. Anyway, I got so many messages about the Quiet Peace Center in Windfall that I started researching even while still at the hospital. What I found? Man, I have to say, there are no limits to what our government will do. It's disgusting. It's really, I can't even use the words that come to mind, or I'll get banned on here. If I didn't have you, fellow Crusaders, I think I'd lose all hope in humanity. But I do have you, and you've been amazing. I want to welcome all new Freedom Crusader members, all 20 of you. Yes, we are growing stronger by the day, my friends. A special thanks to the person who sent me a huge file with top secret documents they acquired about the center. I don't know how you got these things, but it is good that you did. I mean, my eyes wide open, you know? I woke up to reality, and I immediately checked myself out of the hospital. The doctors didn't want me to go, of course, but I felt fine, and I have important work to do. Everyone has to know about this. Someone has got to stop this, and we will. Together. Look, I want to do this right and make sure we get to the bottom of these human experiments in Windfall. But I think there's even more going on than we think or know about right now. I am going to do way more research in the coming days. I'm also trying to arrange for a car to hit the road and go to Windfall myself. I need to investigate this on the ground. That's why I need your help today, Freedom Crusaders. If you have not signed up as a member yet, please do so today. If you sign up for a yearly membership, that money will go directly to a car, some video gear, and gas to take me to Windfall as soon as possible. Simone and Silence presents Eyes Wide Open, How One Coma Patient Woke Up an Entire Nation by Cassidy Benton. Read by the author, Cassidy Benton. Audio production by Sound Globes, Inc. Introduction. Not a single person at the Quiet Peace Center remembers anything special about the days before Usha started waking up. The nurses and doctors went about their days as they always did. It was very quiet at the center. Almost everyone who ever visited the center mentioned this. Not creepy quiet, one family member of a patient said. A quiet peace, just like the name of the center. It wasn't the first time the facility had welcomed a new patient without a name or family. It can take time to identify someone who is brought into a hospital without ID. And yet, there was something different about this patient. From the start, Usha seemed to radiate a different kind of energy. Several people working at the center remember visiting Usha's room just to take a look at her. The therapist especially. Several witnesses to the extraordinary events say. The center's in-house therapist was known to sit with Usha almost every day, often well into the evening. Catherine Halifax, the therapist, refused to talk to me for the book. I would not have mentioned her in this work of nonfiction if not for the crucial role she played in the events that unfolded. But I will focus on Usha first. She's the one who woke up, after all. She is the one who took everyone by surprise. She is the one who made us all feel uncomfortable, at least for a little while. In this book, I will share the story of how Usha woke up on an uneventful Monday evening in a sleepy town hidden in the shadow of one of our nation's largest mountains. From that mountain's shadow, Usha stepped onto the global stage. Or maybe she was dragged onto that stage, because I think the world needed her more than she needed us. I've interviewed dozens of Quiet Peace Center staff members. I've talked to many family members of the other patients. I spoke to almost everyone in Windfall. This book brings the story of a woman who woke up from a coma and then made us all wake up in some way or the other, whether we wanted to or not. And it all started with a pair of beautiful, intense brown eyes meeting the shy gaze of an absolutely flabbergasted therapist. This was part 3 of Waking Up is Easy, If you're new to this podcast and you'd like to find out more about me and my work, go to lesbianromantic.com or connect with me for free on Patreon to get behind-the-scenes updates at patreon.com/lesbianromantic. patreon.com/lesbianromantic. Thank you to all the supporters who helped make this episode possible. You know that I am grateful from the bottom of my heart. And I will see all of you again on this free public feed very soon.